What's up guys, Jab here, back with a brand new Warzone mobile video, and today I'm going to be looking at Warzone mobile running on a now 4-year-old Android tablet, specifically the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus. Now I'm going to be checking this game out on this specific tablet because, as we all know, when Warzone mobile released, did not have the best optimization, especially on Android devices and especially on older Android devices. So I wanted to go ahead and test the game out now, a few months after its release, to see if it is any better, specifically on a slightly older Android device. So with all of that being said, make sure you guys leave a like on the video if you enjoy, subscribe for more mobile gaming content, and yeah, let's just check out how this tablet can run the game. Alright, so a couple of things that you need to know before we actually just start watching all of this. First things first, this is a screen recording. It was done natively on the tablet itself, and I have noticed that the screen recording can drop the FPS a little bit. It's not a huge amount, so you know, it's not going to get magically like 10-20 FPS more if you're not screen recording or something like that. But it is something that I did want to mention. You will get slightly better performance if you're not screen recording and playing at the same time. On top of that, another thing I wanted to mention was the graphics settings. Basically, everything is set to low except for the resolution and upscaling quality, which are set to high. Now, just before anything else, I just wanted to go ahead and say that to give you an estimation of what I felt like it felt. It basically felt like 40-ish, maybe, 45 FPS or something like that. Definitely did not feel like a consistent 60 FPS despite being in a multiplayer match in shipment. So that was one thing that I wanted to go ahead and point out. Despite the Snapdragon 865 Plus on this device, as well as that 8 gigabytes of RAM, it didn't matter. It wasn't enough to get 60 FPS in Warzone Mobile on this tablet. In regards to the visual quality too, the resolution just does not look very high at all. It is a little bit hard to actually gather like details and stuff, especially on enemy characters. Usually I'm just going based off of their silhouettes, or I'm going based off of that little red marker that it puts on enemies. I'm not actually like noticing, details in their skins or guns or things like that, because the visual quality is just that bad. It's just not a very clear and sharp image. This tablet, I believe, has like a 1700p screen, but obviously the game is not playing at a 1700p resolution or even close to it. I don't know the exact resolution, but if I had to guess, I would imagine that it's probably something like, I don't know, 540p or something, maybe a little bit higher than that, but it's definitely nowhere close to that 1700p or even like 1080p or anything like that. It's a very low resolution. It's very muddy, and it is really hard to discern details and stuff like that. Like I mentioned earlier, though, the frame rate, it felt like it was staying in the 40s ish, which is going to basically depend on person to person whether or not you consider that playable. Obviously in this video I was still able to do relatively well. I think in the end of the match I got like 45 kills or something like that, and we did win, so I was able to still perform fairly well with the controller on this tablet. But yeah, the visuals definitely do not feel that great. After playing other games on this tablet, specifically COD Mobile, PUBG Mobile, Bloodstrike, the visuals in those games, while they may not be the PC engine like this game is, the visuals are still much sharper, much clearer. It's a lot easier to notice details and stuff like that. So that's basically my main gripe with this. We're not getting a constant 60, and we're also not getting a really sharp image or anything like that. I know that the Snapdragon 865 Plus in this tablet is not the best anymore. Of course, it's about 4, maybe even 4.5 years old. So that's something that is definitely holding it back. And this is just multiplayer, which is of course supposed to be the easier to run part of Warzone Mobile. Obviously, Rebirth Island and then of course Verdansk tend to be a little bit more demanding than the multiplayer mode. And to say, to speak on those, I'm not going to show any gameplay of those because honestly, it's pretty bad. Rebirth Island, for the most part, runs pretty similar to this actually, which is surprising, but I did notice that the game crashed a few times, which I don't think it's ever crashed during a multiplayer match on this tablet when I've been playing, but when I've been playing on Rebirth Island, it's crashed a couple of times now. So that's something that I have noticed. And then when it comes to Verdansk, in my opinion, is just kind of unplayable. You're talking, you know, frame rates in like the 30s, maybe the high 20s, and things take forever to load in. It's just too demanding of a situation for this tablet specifically, I guess. Again, I want to make it clear, I understand this tablet is about 4 years old. People are probably going to comment being like, you know, if you want to get the best graphics or the best FPS, you got to upgrade and stuff like that. The whole point of this video was really to just analyze, is Warzone Mobile capable of running on a 4-year-old flagship device? Technically it does, but technically it doesn't. You know, half the modes, the battle royale modes at least, are not really working the best on this tablet. The multiplayer mode does work for the most part. I wish performance was better, or I wish the visuals were better if we were going to be stuck in the, you know, 40 FPS range and stuff like that. But unfortunately, this is what it is. Another thing that I thought was worth mentioning was the actual performance in various different maps. I've noticed that the visual quality of certain maps is different, even though the graphic settings are exactly the same. Some maps do look better than others. I mean, for example, Shipment, it does look pretty decent for the most part, whereas a map that I noticed looks really, really bad at these settings on this specific tablet is Crash. That map, I don't know what is going on, but you can really, really tell there's a lot of, you know, fuzziness to it. There's a lot of just, it's just really, really low quality. For some reason, looks like it's playing at a lower resolution than other multiplayer maps. Again, it looks really fuzzy. It's kind of hard to describe, but when you move, you can tell that things are kind of coming in and out of focus and stuff. And it's just overall a really bad map to play on this specific tablet. I don't really know why either. I don't know why that specific map is so bad on this tablet and on these settings. But it is what it is, you know, like it's just another one of those things where it was kind of like, yep, this is kind of how it is on this tablet. And unfortunately, you know, this is probably the case for a lot of people on, you know, older Android devices and stuff, especially with things around the Snapdragon 865 level. It may not come off in the video that you're actually watching here, but trust me, there is a major difference between the visual quality playing on Shipment or another map like that versus the visual quality of Crash. Again, I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe it's because it's a slightly larger map than some of the other multiplayer maps, and maybe because there is a lot of things going on. You know, there are those destructible cars, there is a lot of various things on the floor and stuff like that. Maybe it's just more taxing on your system than most other multiplayer maps. But yeah, this was a map that I very quickly noticed was performing really bad, and I just wanted to go ahead and try to record something of it just because it was really bad and I wanted to showcase it in the video. So to give some final thoughts on what I think about Warzone Mobile running it on an older Android device, whether or not it's playable and stuff like that. To me, this performance is obviously not the best. It's not ideal, but it is somewhat playable as long as you're not playing on Crash. At least if you're playing on Shipment or something like that, it's okay. You know, it's not the best. Of course, I would love if it was a consistent 60 FPS, even if the visuals stayed exactly the same. If it was just a consistent 60, it would make a hell of a difference. But obviously, that is unfortunately, it seems like it's not going to be the case. We're now what, 4, maybe 5 months into Warzone Mobile's full release, and it just hasn't really gotten that much better on older Android devices. It definitely feels like this game is only really for devices that are on the higher end side of things, you know, the newer side of things and stuff like that, which is unfortunate because I do genuinely think that part of the reason why mobile gaming became so big in the first place was because of the accessibility, where it didn't really matter what mobile device you have. If you had one, you could be a mobile gamer, you could play mobile games. And now we're starting to get situations like this where this game is so unoptimized that you have to have a very specific mobile device in order to even run it comfortably. It kind of defeats the purpose of it, in my opinion, of the whole, you know, aspect of what makes mobile gaming so good. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it so far. If I'm being completely honest, I don't think it's going to get any better. I think we're already 4 or 5 months into the release of Warzone Mobile. I don't really see the optimization drastically improving over the next few months or going into its first year of, you know, full release and stuff like that. It just seems like if there was going to be, you know, some major optimization for the older Android devices like this one, it would have happened by now, but obviously it hasn't. So unfortunately, this is just kind of how it is right now. Warzone Mobile, you know, it's a game that kind of takes a pretty beefy device in order to play, and I think that's partly the reason why so many people have moved on from it, which is unfortunate because it is actually a fun game. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys are getting better performance or worse performance than this, and let me know what device you're playing on. Very interesting hearing your guys' thoughts on this. But with all of that being said, thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.